Hi, welcome to the program. Who have I got?
Oh, hi, it's Sandra. I'm calling from California.
Well, hi. Welcome to the program.
Listen, the market thing is just got me going. I'm like sitting there thinking, oh, well, hell, India had to stop their training. It was falling so fast. And I'm thinking, what's going to happen here? And lo and behold, it's some more wizard, some more magic, because monetary policy won't even affect this crap for 12 to 18 months. So they really must be in some sort of fantasy world. I don't care if he cuts it 3 points. You know what I'm saying? It's a bunch of BS.
Well, and this can't work either because there's a floor to it that you can't. This isn't upper level math, and there's nowhere to go past zero unless you just start giving money away.
No, and Japan did that, and they were in so-called recession for a decade. I mean, this is just a nightmare. And what happened to if you make a mistake, you're on your own? The ownership society and all this BS that we're fed night and day by these so-called people in charge. It's just a load. I am so sick to death because these people will never lose their shirt, but the rest of us will, and will enjoy it while we're losing it, as far as I can tell, because I need to be concerned about Martin Luther King, what he said, what he meant, and all this little BS, which don't matter to me. I mean, I need to know who's running for office, have some sense. I don't care about this gender, race stuff that the Democrats are letting the media run for them. It's disgusting.
You are.
I don't mean to rant.
Rant on. Go.
It's just sort of just unbelievable what garbage the media has these people wound up in. And Obama with his Reagan praising. I don't care if he said that he wasn't. I don't know why that name should come out of this man's mouth. He's my age. He knows better.
Yeah, okay. He's not that much older than me.
No, hell, he's like, I'm 44, so whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm just sort of sitting here thinking, when he was talking about Reagan, I'm like, what the hell? Because I don't care if he was parsing it the way he was going on last night, the name shouldn't have came out of his mouth if he's a Democrat, right?
Precisely. I mean, and there's no way to pretty it up.
No, and they trying to, and I was listening to Randy and all these people trying to, make excuses for dude. I'm like, oh, no, hell no. This fool is trying to, I don't know what he's doing, but that's not what I need to hear from Obama. And the whole race thing is also another thing that's just driving me crazy. It's like, we about to implode up in this mug, and you talking about this mess? I could care less. I need to know what the hell you're going to do.
Well, that's something worth considering, and I'm not trying to make this a class war situation, but you say, you were of a certain age when Reagan was president, and it's very similar to the age I was, and I don't know what you were doing. I know I wasn't
struggling like I'm doing now.
Yeah, I wasn't going to Harvard.
You know what I mean? I was aware that Reagan was unleashing some frightening stuff onto our nation. That's what I was doing. I was looking at how all of a sudden bag ladies appeared and unions fell apart. That's what I saw, okay?
Yeah.
and I didn't see no new ideas. I saw the unwinding of the middle class, and it's been going to hell ever since. So for him to praise Reagan, I was like, no, man. You're done. I'm not voting for you either. So, Bob, I'm not too sure who was left for me to.
I'm down to Edwards. I'm down to Edwards. I mean, I'd like to vote for Kucinich, but I really want somebody to win that I trust to have the brains to get the job done.
Because this dog and pony show that Hillary and Obama's involved in, I think people are pretty much sick of it. They're not playing along, so they must be playing with the media. And if I see another nig-nog or black spokesman roll out, I'm going to lose it, because I'm also a Negro myself, and I can't stand this sort of placating from, I don't know what they're doing,
Well, does it, okay, let me just ask you then. Let me just ask you straight up. Does it feel like condescension?
It's a joke, because if you're black, white, Mexican, or whatever, if you working, that's all you need to be concerned about in this mug. It's workers and it's them. There ain't nothing else going on.
There's them that gets their paychecks signed, and there's them that signs the paychecks.
Right, and that's all it is. Even their little hero, Martin Luther King, came to that conclusion before the government killed his ass. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, and I didn't mention that last night, but I'm glad you brought it up because you know what? That bears mentioning. Why was Martin Luther King in Memphis?
Exactly.
He was not in Memphis to march on the sole behalf of black folks.
Right.
He was there over a garbage strike.
Yeah, his evolution was going to economic justice, and all of a sudden, oops, no, that Negro needs to go. So, let's not, I am so over it. I'm thinking, hello, wake up. And we're overwhelmed by a media that is protected by the Constitution that should not be anymore. It's a crime, okay? It's out of control.
Well, you remind me of something, and I'd like to share this. I don't know if you've seen it or not. I'd like to share this with you and with the audience while you're with me. This is a letter that came out that I saw first yesterday, and I'm just going to quote from it. I appreciate that on the major issues of health care, the environment, and the economy, you have framed the issues for what they are, a struggle for justice, and you have almost single-handedly made poverty an issue in this election. You know as well as anyone that the 37 million people living in poverty have no voice in our system. They don't have lobbyists in Washington, and they don't get to go to lunch with members of Congress. Speaking up for them is not politically convenient, but it is the right thing to do. I am disturbed by how little attention the topic of economic justice has received during this campaign. I want to challenge all candidates to follow your lead and speak up loudly and forcefully on the issue of economic justice in America. That is a letter from Martin Luther King III to John Edwards. Not Obama and not Hillary.
That's a good one.
Does that say something?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty ringing. It's not an official endorsement, but by my lights, that's a pretty strong endorsement. And it is true. Edwards is the only one who's talking about that stuff.
Well, no, but the thing is that people seem to be, I don't know why they don't seem to understand that is the most monumental issue. It's this sort of how this economy is slipping away from us. I don't know if it's because, once again, the media is not letting it be heard, because Edwards is the only one who seems to bring it up, and they don't want to hear it because he hardly gets any coverage.
Oh, no, well, that's because our journalists are terminally lazy. It's easier to cover the horse race. It's easier to cover, ooh, is he a racist? Did Bill Clinton call Obama a boy? Yeah, that's easy. That's mindless, and it's a mindless media playing to a mindless viewer and readership and listenership, I guess, to the extent.
Yeah, well, no, I just, like I said, I was just listening to your monologue, and I was just thinking, everything you were saying was so true, and it's like this sort of market thing. I'm sitting there, I was expecting, oh wow, we're going to have a 6, 5, 700 point drop, and to see these rapacious, I don't know what to call that, Bernanke just step in. All of it just made me feel sick because, I have student loans, I don't have any health care, and I can make a long list of what, I don't have.
Right.
And it's just sort of like, I'm not sitting around really expecting anyone to come to my aid, but it's just this sort of resignation of being an American now means it's just a huge struggle. And there is no social mobility anymore. This whole your children are going to be better than you, that BS is a load of crap. It's a bunch of BS now. Yeah,
and the thing is, I know exactly what you're talking about. In many ways, I'm exactly where you are. No health care, no retirement, nothing. And you know what? If one of my checks goes boink at the bounces at the bank, nobody steps in and covers it for me. The chairman of the Fed doesn't come in and say, "Oh, Bob, gee, I'm sorry, you forgot to carry the 2. Let me fix that for you, buddy." And
I'll give you a loan in secret so no one knows what your situation is, like they do.
Yeah.
It's just sort of stunning to me, and there doesn't seem to be any end in sight until there's complete instability in this country because, wake up, Richies, if when people don't have a stake, they don't have nothing to lose, and that becomes a problem for them eventually.
Sure it does. It has to. Because despite all the crap that the right wing pumps out there every day about how, well, you know, it's the investor class, it's the wealthy people who are the engines of the world, and they're the ones who make everything happen. Because you know what? If the wealthy people don't get their grass mowed and their toilets swabbed, they're ready to go into full meltdown. Let alone trying to make $600 last a month paying utilities and rent and gasoline and food. No, see, that top 10% of America could not live like you have to live.
Well, no, and the thing is, it's just sort of, I was stunned by that. I guess who's that guy, David K., whoever his name is?
David K. Johnston.
Who was coming out with that statistic where the economy has doubled, yet 90% of the workers have lost ground. I mean, those sort of statistics are like, that is enough to make me get a pitchfork. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Marie Antoinette and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got your cake. Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to go there, but I had this conversation with my so-called peers, and they are so awash in this, oh, no, one day it might be me crap. They don't understand my fury at the rich. They think that there's something wrong with me. But no, I'm not feeling this sort of, oh, it's okay how they live and how I live anymore. No way. I'm done with it.
Well, either we live in an America where we all have equal justice under the law,
or nobody has it.
Or nobody has it.
No, I'm at that point. I'm like, yeah, they can be rich, that's fine. But when it gets to a point where, my little nieces don't have the health care, or my little nieces who are 5 years old and don't have a future worth crap to look forward to, no, they don't need to live. They don't need to have peace either. I mean, see, and that's not the way I want to go, because that's not the kind of person I am, but I'm not unawares of what's going on up in here. I think that, people need to understand that, it is a class war, and we're losing.
Yeah, no kidding. and who was the first person to say that?
Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett. There's a class war, and my side's winning.
Right, but see, the thing is, I don't need some rich F to tell me anything. I'm well aware. I'm aware enough to see what's going on around me. I'm not immersed in this American dream that's a nightmare and all this sort of BS that Americans fall for. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
It's stunning to me. I don't know why people can't see it.
If I could. If I could load my phones up with people saying the same kind of stuff as you're saying right now, I would go for 6 hours a night. I would. Just to let America hear what reality is.
Well, no, but it's not like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not like, living in a box. I have a roof over my head.
No, well, same here, like sure.
Okay, and it's no need for me. I'm not trying to exaggerate, but I'm not content to look at that level of wealth while bridges are falling on folks. You understand what I mean? It's absurd and it's obscene.
And out of that whole, and I don't know if you've heard it lately or not, but I don't refer to these things as debates anymore. I call them pageants.
Oh, God, I can barely look at it.
And this pageant last night went on for, 90 minutes? One person said New Orleans. One person.
But they hardly ever even mention the war at this point, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
I don't know what the heck they're talking about. Well, Katrina, that's just like a distant, as Bush says, in that part of the world. I mean, they can't even say the place where it happened,
Yeah, that neck of the woods.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is just so obvious. You know what I mean? That what's going on. Yet and still, people continue to sort of just plow through it, and I don't know if they're hoping and wishing, but that's not going to do it. I mean, another 8 years of this.
Now, you know what? I'm pretty hard on the American people most of the time, but I want to cut the American people a little bit of slack because I do know a little bit of what's going on just from the folks I see around here. They're getting up, and that Republican Congresswoman, did you catch her the other day? Republican Congresswoman from Minnesota who stood up and crowed because she was so proud because there were more people in Minnesota working 3 jobs than anywhere else on earth?
No, I was like, where is, that, she should have been tarred. I couldn't even believe that was coming out of her mouth. I heard that.
And see, that's what America is doing. America is working 2 jobs and 3 jobs. And America is a payday away from absolute abject disaster. And so they don't, to their credit, to cut them a little bit of slack, most of the American people don't have time for the kind of conversation that you and I are having right now.
No, listen, I got to give you respect for that. That is true. That's true. People are, they work. I mean, we can't, no, I'm never going to say that. Everyone I know works as hard as they, can. They work more if they could, but it still doesn't make it right.
No, it doesn't. And I would guess that out of the grand total of the American people, probably not 1% of the American population, voting or otherwise, knows that the last time in America that a family was able to get by and not just exist, but, live on a single wage earner, mom and dad raising the kids, sort of leave it to beaver existence. The last time that was a reality was the Carter administration. Okay, for all the right wing screaming about, it's our family values are falling off because Bill Clinton had a yada, 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 yada. The last time that daddy was able to go to work and mama was able to stay home and send the kids to school and pack the lunch and all the things that we tend to say is the traditional family values, the last time that was a reality was under Jimmy Carter. And to get Sean Hannity to admit something like that, his head would explode.
Oh, no, but these people, they are constant with a lie. And, it's just so discouraging to understand that has had a real impact on, how people view things. Because I know people who are making $25,000 who think they're in the middle class. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're not.
No, it's not.
And it's just the whole mentality that goes along with what they're feeding people it just drives me up the wall. It really does,
all you have to do is sit down and figure out, on average, what the garden variety bills are. For a house payment and some sort of rolling stock car payment and the insurance and the homeowners and the gasoline and the groceries. And you pile that stuff up pretty soon, and you know what? A $40,000 a year job doesn't leave you a cushion.
Exactly. I was just I couldn't believe this report I read where apparently blacks and Hispanics stand to lose like almost $300 billion in wealth behind this subprime crap. That's like a huge hit. Another big hit on working people. That is just going to leave people reeling even more. Can you imagine buying a home and have it just snatched from you? You know how hideous that is?
And have all the and the equity just disappeared one night.
Right, and you find out that you were fed this high-ass interest rate because you weren't the right color. It's just
that's why I keep asking this question. What's the difference between a rent-to-own or a payday loan storefront and Wall Street?
No,
There's no difference. Better suits, better cars, I guess. But
it's just an outrage. Oh, well, listen, I got to help my little nieces with their homework.
Oh, bless their little hearts. I tell you what, you do that because that's about the only help they're going to get.
Oh, God. Anyway, listen, you keep on going, and, I listen to your network all the time, so, take care.
Well, I'm so proud to hear from you. I hope you won't be a stranger.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye now. I live for this kind of conversation. I, honest to God, live for this kind of conversation. And the emails roll in. She's exactly right. There is not this or that color. There's working class being trampled and abused, and rich class trickle down peeing on us from on high. Let it crash.